Good morning, everyone. I am Miha Gallagher, Senior Research Director for Destination Analysts, and happy post-Halloween weekend. Despite what my husband begrudgingly says, it is officially the start of the holiday season, aka 2+ months of me blasting Christmas songs. But before we move from spooky to the most wonderful time of the year, I wanted to share quickly what some of our team members got up to for Halloween. So on the far left are Erin's adorable kids dressed up as anime characters from the show Demon Slayer. And in the middle is Mita with her fiance as the delightfully creepy main characters from Coraline. And lastly, me, Charlie, and some friends in New York as a space cadet trio, and also a shirtless off-brand Mario. And if you're wondering, shirtless Mario was a big hit. So welcome to the 77th week of our study and our 77th industry update. It's of course a pleasure to be with all of you again, presenting the latest findings on how Americans are feeling, thinking, and behaving when it comes to travel in the time of COVID. As always, this research is based on an online survey of 1,200 Americans who traveled pre-pandemic from each of the 4 major regions of the US. Now, after the data is collected, it's weighted by geography and demographics. And we've been conducting the study almost every week. It was weekly, now moved to bi-weekly, but we've been conducting this since March 15th of 2020. But today's update reflects data that we collected from this past week between October 27th and the 29th. And joining me in sharing these insights from DA are the lovely Erin Frances Cummings, our president and CEO, and our equally as lovely founder and managing director, Dave Bratton. Erin and Dave are happy to answer any questions you may have about the research as I move through this deck. So don't be shy, feel free to talk to them and ask them your questions in the chat or Q&A feature. And the 3 of us are part of a larger team of researchers at Destination Analysts who are ready to provide you with deep insights into your audience's brand and marketing performance through expertly designed research. And our independently produced research that we are sharing with you all today is provided to help our industry continue to navigate and recover from this ongoing COVID situation. On the agenda for today, I'll start out by sharing the latest on American travel sentiment and behaviors, and then Erin will come on to lead a discussion with some of America's most iconic retail and entertainment destinations, covering what to anticipate for this year's holiday travel season and how you can get the most out of it. So collaboration and inspiration is coming and you won't want to miss it. Karen, Kate, Sarah, and Taylor, thank you so much for being on with us today, and we can't wait to hear from you later on in the show. So before I jump into the research findings, I'll start with some context. We'll just review a summary of the top headlines that Americans saw as they answered our questions this week. So the number of new COVID cases continues to plummet across the US. The United States is now averaging roughly 70,000 new cases per day, which is actually a 20% drop over the past 2 weeks. Now that's still a lot of cases, but the number has been steadily coming down throughout the fall and hopefully will continue to drop. But 5% of unvaccinated adults said that they've left their job due to a vaccine mandate, according to a new survey released Thursday by Kaiser Family Foundation. And this early read on whether workers will actually quit their jobs over mandates comes as more employers are requiring shots. One in 4 workers surveyed by KFF in October said their employer has required them to get vaccinated, and this is up from 9% in June and 19% just last month. And this, of course, comes amid a slew of lawsuits being filed by a number of states who are trying to stop these federally mandated vaccine requirements, arguing that the mandate violates federal procurement law and is an overreach of federal power. However, the Biden administration is counter-arguing that this is a drastic step needed to help end this deadly pandemic. And the economy's growth has also slowed due to the persistence of the novel coronavirus, which continues to shape the contours of the economic performance of the US and around the world. And after rising vaccinations pushed down the pandemic earlier this year, the surge of Delta pushed it right back up. And this is also a major major reason why inflation shows no signs of subsiding anytime soon. And unfortunately, across the pond, the UK is undergoing another COVID surge, just 3 months after Britain celebrated Freedom Day back in July, as England saw a near full lifting of COVID restrictions. Or fast forward to last week, where more than 50,000 infections were recorded in the UK in a single day. Experts said that there's a range of factors driving Britain's current surge. As the pandemic nears its 2-year mark, they're closely monitoring the country's response to rising cases to see whether the UK is in fact a warning sign for the rest of the world. Let's now look at the number of TSA passenger screenings for 2019, 2020, and 2021, which is shown here in red. Now, I know the optimist in all of us had really hoped that passenger screenings in the later half of this year would match rates last seen back in 2019. However, passenger screenings for July through now have been consistently down about 20% compared to pre-pandemic times. I do, though, have a little bit of good news to share. As I flew out of DIA on Thursday to New York, I saw a group of about 15 new TSA agents being onboarded, which was a really happy sight to see. All right, so let's now review the key takeaways from our study of American travelers this week. So first, Americans continue to regain normalcy lost due to the Delta variant surge. 2, many Americans are looking at lifestyle changes centered on transforming their relationships with themselves, their family, and work. 3, the near-term outlook for travel is positive. And 4, travel advertising has a significant opportunity to be more inclusionary. All right, let's first talk about Americans' return to normalcy. How close are we feeling to normal in terms of resuming leisure activities and being more normal social creatures instead of socially awkward feral beasts? So Americans continue to regain normalcy lost due to the Delta variant surge. This week, 41.6% feel that the US is over halfway to resuming normal leisure activities. But let's see how this is tracked over 2021. Now, after a big leap in feelings of normalcy at the start of the summer, this metric has receded quite a bit due to Delta, but as of October, we are starting to see a rise in this metric once more. And just delving deeper, we asked travelers to rate how close or far from normal they currently feel with different aspects of their lives on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being completely normal. And this chart is showing you the top 3 box score for each. Now, topping the list here in terms of greatest sense of normalcy in life resumption is Americans' ability to enjoy relationships with family, happiness, and their ability to work. Unfortunately, towards the bottom of this list is our ability to travel as we would like, with only about 1 in 3 feeling their travel habits are close to a pre-pandemic normalcy. Let's now see how this particular metric has tracked across 2021. Well, after a big leap in perceived normalcy around traveling as one would like from April to June, this has since declined through summer and early fall before jumping back up to 41% mid-October and then declining once more this week. And most Americans are resigned to the feeling that COVID will be with us longer term. In fact, 2 in 3 travelers feel that this is likely, while only about 10% feel it's unlikely. This metric has largely remained unchanged since we've been posing this question to Americans since mid-September. As you may have guessed, this is, of course, impacting travel. When asked how much this persisting COVID issue is impacting Americans' ability to have meaningful travel experiences, 44.4% say it's having more than a moderate impact on them. And the level of impact on meaningful travel experiences, it interestingly hasn't changed much from September through now, but we'll continue to monitor this, of course. And since the topic of long-term COVID issues is a bit of a downer, I wanted to take a little research findings intermission to ask you all about your future. Specifically, as we move out of this pandemic, do you intend to change your lifestyle in any way? I certainly do, as I vowed to eat more cheese and be less intense with my husband, Charlie. And I'm doing great on the first lifestyle change, and the second is a little bit more slow going, but I'm still working on it. So let's see how many of you are anticipating lifestyle changes. All right, so it looks like a majority, 66% say yes, you do intend to change your lifestyle as we move out of COVID. And as for the American traveling populace, 1 in 4 actually intend to change their lifestyle as we move out of this pandemic. And interestingly, the proportion of travelers touting the tagline, "Old Pandemic, New Me," has decreased a bit compared to June, now at 25.8% from 28.6% just 4 months ago. And of those who do intend to change their lifestyles, the most common anticipated pandemic-induced changes are being more mindful of their wellness and self-care, followed by finding a healthier work-life balance and spending more time with family and friends. Now, down towards the bottom of this list are finding a new romantic partner, moving, and then getting rid of their current partner, but hopefully not in that order. But what about long by the pandemic? Well, just under a quarter of Americans are saying yes, they do in fact intend to change the way they travel as we move out of this COVID situation, which is a figure that has largely remained unchanged from June of 2021. But how will they change their travel habits, you ask? Well, over 3/4 say it will be important for them to travel to spend more time with family and friends. About 60% say they'll take more trips and or put more emphasis on outdoor recreational travel, in addition to nearly 55% saying they will travel more sustainably, which is certainly a pandemic accelerated trend. Another 48.6% say they will travel more internationally. But remember, this is just amongst the 23% of travelers who anticipate making changes to their travel habits post-pandemic. So in actuality, just over 11% of Americans plan to travel abroad more often as COVID wanes. Well, what about traveling more domestically? Well, we asked travelers how much they agree with this statement. The pandemic has opened my mind to traveling more inside of the US. And good news for our US-based destinations, nearly half of American travelers agree. Meanwhile, just 13% disagree. And another pandemic-induced trend that we've been hearing and buzzing all about is digital nomadism. In fact, 44% of travelers now agree that they're interested in trying out such a lifestyle where they can travel and work remotely. And this is actually up from 39% back in June. And actually, the whole driving force behind Charlie and I going out to New York this past weekend for Halloween was because of our 2 really good friends who are digital nomading currently, and they're staying in New York for the month, and they beckoned us to come visit them, and so we did. So there's a lot of potential economic impact to be had from promoting your destination as a place for work remote programs, that is. All right, so now on to travel sentiment metrics, which do show near-term outlook for travel is positive. So in terms of personal health concerns as it relates to COVID, 58% have higher levels of concern, which is shown in this chart in orange on this time series chart. And as we can see, health concerns had been on an upward trend from summer to fall due to Delta, but this appears to be slowly receding again. When it comes to personal finances, half of travelers show moderate to severe levels of concern around how COVID may impact them. But similar to health concerns, this is on the decline after a Delta-induced increase in the summer. And now 38.5% feel that the COVID situation will improve in the US in the next month, which is nearly twice the number of travelers who feel it will get worse. And although the proportion who feels things will get better next month, shown here in blue, declined a bit compared to 2 weeks ago, overall this metric does appear to be on a gradual upwards trend after falling substantially since this past summer. And as of now, 70% of Americans are excited about traveling in the near term. And when we look at the mean score for near-term travel excitement, although this has declined a bit compared to 2 weeks ago, this metric again is largely on a gradual upwards trend compared to summer. But travelers appear to be showing more enthusiasm for their travel future. In fact, those who rated their excitement for travel in the next 12 months as a 6 or above, this is actually 5 points higher than those giving the same excitement rating for traveling in the next month as we just saw. But similarly, this has declined a bit compared to mid-October. However, it's largely on a positive upwards trend. And a majority of Americans are open to travel inspiration, with nearly 2/3 saying they would be excited to learn more about new destinations and travel experiences right now. And this openness to travel inspiration has been on the rise since summer. As for travel state of mind, nearly 80% of Americans now say they are ready to travel, a metric that is finally growing again after a long period of stagnation across the summer of 21. But do these improving travel sentiment metrics equate to actual travel plans and bookings? You bet your buns it does. This week, more than 7 in 10 American travelers did some travel dreaming and planning in the past week alone, including almost 1 in 5 making actual travel reservations. And this week, 83.8% of American travelers currently have overnight trip plans, with about 53% traveling at least once in the next 3 months. And current plans for day trips are a bit softer than anticipated overnight trips, with 65.5% expecting to take such a trip in the near future. But the seasonal pattern for day trips, though, currently follows the same for overnight trips, with 2021 trips peaking in December and then gradually tapering down as we move into early 2022. Next, we'll look at data points related to perceptions of travel safety. Now, of the 20+ travel activities that we track, when we take the average safety perception rating across all of these, we're currently sitting at 48.1%. And while there was a slight decline in this average safety perception rating this week, it is overall a minimal change, and on the whole, we are moving in an upwards trend. Unfortunately, there are fewer Americans who consider these travel activities as unsafe to engage in right now, as demonstrated by the orange line on this chart. And this week, 46.4% of Americans are confident that they can travel safely in the current environment, which is a slight drop compared to 2 weeks ago. However, we're not too far off from the peak that we recorded back in July, which was at 52.9%. And amongst vaccinated travelers, 61.3% say they're confident in their vaccine's protection against COVID. And this confidence has increased since the end of September, though there hasn't been much movement compared to 2 weeks ago. And then 40% of American travelers agree that recent media coverage of COVID has them doubting that it's safe to go out and about. And this is compared to 30% who disagree. But zeroing in on the top 2 box score, those who agree or strongly agree, when we look at how that's tracked, we see that the percentage who agree with this statement, this has fortunately been decreasing since September, suggesting a period of improvement. And then COVID-19 media coverage has 42.8% of American travelers currently doubting that it's safe to go out and travel, while 28.7% disagree with this statement. And then again, looking at those who agree with this statement over time, we see a similar trend in safety to go out and about. There's been a steady decline in the percentage who say that media has them doubting that it's safe to travel. And so we're certainly moving in the right direction here. And right now, over half of Americans agree that recent news of Delta variant cases makes them less interested in traveling. Conversely, 22.2% disagree with this. And again, just zeroing in on those who agree with this statement, we see another downwards trend. So again, moving in the right direction, in which fewer people are now saying that news about Delta is discouraging them from getting out and traveling. And as a result of the Delta variant, about 30% of American travelers have postponed trips. Meanwhile, about 1 in 4 have actually canceled an upcoming trip because of the Delta variant. And the height of trip cancellations and postponements due to Delta appear to be behind us. Although October did bring about a slight uptick in both, but fortunately, trip postponements have remained more common than outright cancellations. And amongst travelers who took an overnight trip within the past 3 months, there appears to be a significant level of anxiety around COVID still. In total, 26.5% experienced moderate or high levels of anxiety about COVID during their trip. And this level of anxiety has largely been stable since mid-September, so not a lot of change here. All right, and the final section that I'll cover is travel advertising. And the main takeaway here is that travel advertising has a significant opportunity to be more inclusive. So, asked to rate their level of agreement with this statement, I see people that I identify with commonly featured in travel advertising. Only 36.1% agreed, while 22.9% disagreed. And then a similar percentage, 38.1%, feel that travel advertising is designed with people like them in mind, compared to 23.5% who don't feel this way. And when we dug a little deeper into this statement, travelers who have children were significantly more likely than those who don't have children to say that travel ads are designed with people like them in mind. And this was also the case for younger travelers who were much more likely to agree with the statement compared to baby boomers. But stay tuned, as our team will be releasing a blog post that takes a more in-depth look at how different demographic groups responded to these travel ad questions. When asked how much they agree that travel ads should authentically represent the racial makeup of the destination, we found that half say it should, while conversely, just over 1 in 10 disagrees. And in fact, 1 in 5 Americans saw an ad that they said felt inauthentic, and 15% said they have seen ads that felt exclusionary, which is a pretty significant proportion of the traveling population. Of course, though, just under half of travelers that we posed this question to said they had not or could not recall any travel ads that hit any of the above response options. All right, so one more time around the Venn, let's take a look at the summary of key takeaways from our study this week. So first, Americans continue to regain normalcy lost due to the Delta variant surge. 2, many Americans are looking at lifestyle changes centered around transforming their relationships with themselves, their family, and work. 3, the near-term outlook for travel is positive. And lastly, travel advertising has a significant opportunity to be more inclusionary. So that's a wrap on this week's research, friends. This presentation deck and our webinar recording will be available later today on our website here. And Destination Analyst is a full-service market research firm, and we would be thrilled to answer your organization's most pressing questions through custom, expertly designed research. So please think of us should the need arise. And our team is, of course, available to make a condensed version of this presentation to your board or stakeholders. Just reach out to us if you need that. And a new universe of insights awaits you when Destination Analyst creates a custom analysis system for your mobile geolocation data. Whether you are already purchasing mobile geolocation data or you need us to get it for you, let us apply our tourism research expertise to add deeper, more comprehensive, and actionable insights on marketable visitors to your organization's mission. Your stakeholders will be addicted. And as the pandemic ends, it will be more important than ever to understand the passions that drive the destination decision-making process. And DA's new Passion Profile study series is is and will be your go-to resource for critical insights about the vast and changing interests of today's travelers. This is just a list of all of the different passion profile reports available now. So if you are interested or you want more information, just reach out to me. And so you have it on your radar, we are getting ready for our 2022 edition of the State of the International Traveler Study. And this very comprehensive report gives you really in-depth insights into how to market to the top international markets, feeder markets to the US. So if you want to learn more or you're interested in buying into this research, just reach out to me. And with that, I will pass the torch over to Erin so she can introduce our really stellar panel.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I was trying to answer some questions in the chat, but I'll let Dave get to those. Yes, I would love to invite our panel to come on camera now. The holiday season, as we know, represents a tremendous economic opportunity for tourism and hospitality business. And with the Delta surge seemingly in the rear window, our research is showing that Americans are feeling pretty good about travel and undergoing leisure activities as we head into the season. So it's a great time to look at the near-term outlook and get some insights and inspiration from our colleagues in the retail and entertainment world. I think if there's one thing the pandemic taught us, we can always be doing more, right? Let me introduce them. Start with Sarah Orcutt. Sarah, she's the Policy and Research Manager for the Times Square Alliance. Sarah manages and analyzes the district's economic data. She works within the Economic Development and Policy Department, using data to develop innovative solutions to public space management challenges, guide the Alliance's regulatory agenda, and measure programming success. Over the course of the pandemic, the Times Square Alliance provided critical data to support businesses and inform New York City's recovery efforts. Next, I'll introduce Taylor Safford, the President and CEO of Pier 39, here where I am in San Francisco. Taylor is responsible for all of Pier 39 company's divisions and affiliated entities, including Blue and Gold Fleet, Moore and South Pier Management Company, Tandem Partnerships, and Bay Marina Management, Inc., as well as the world-famous Pier 39 shopping, dining, and entertainment complex. Then we have Karen Fashina, with the Director of Marketing for Visit Buffalo Niagara. From intern to marketing director, Karen has enjoyed a 20-plus career in the tourism industry. Each day she celebrates the city of Buffalo in new ways to help promote its culture, amenities, authenticity, and pride. And she says, go Bills, and of course, go the in border reopening. And then last but not least, we have Kate. And Kate, for some reason, I don't have your bio in here. She's with Mace Rich Retail and Outlet Centers. Kate, I'm so sorry. Do you mind giving us a one sentence intro? I don't know how your bio slipped out of my sheet there.
No worries, Erin. Yes, good morning. I'm Kate Birchler. I'm head of tourism marketing for Mace Rich Shopping Centers and Fashion Outlets, and I have 20 years experience here in the industry. We represent shopping destinations all over the United States located in major markets. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Okay, I want to start with what your own data is telling you, and then also, all of you are such seasoned professionals, of course, your own sense. What is it telling you about the success of the upcoming holiday season? Kate, you want to kick us off here, and then we'll have Taylor after Kate.
Sure. So the International Council of Shopping Centers, which is like the U.S. Travel Association of the retail industry, predicts that it is going to be an incredibly strong tourism season. We're anticipating an 8.9% increase in physical shopping in the months of November and December. And that's fantastic. That is an increase over last year. And we think that physical in-store shopping is going to be incredibly strong because people want to see, touch, and feel the merchandise. They actually want to browse for gift ideas. And they also just want to physically get out and be in a community center. And that's what our shopping destinations provide. So that's what we're anticipating for this holiday season. We're expecting it to be a very extended holiday season. We highly encourage everyone to get out and start shopping now.
Great. All right, Taylor, followed by Sarah and then Karen.
Great. So Kate touched on the data point on the pickup in travel for this season. My sense is that people want to feel normal again. They want to be safe. They want to experience and celebrate Christmas in a big way again, Christmas and the holidays. They want to pamper themselves a little bit. They don't want to venture too far from home. And being less adventurous, they prefer to kind of try tried and true options so they sort of avoid disappointment.
Great, Sarah and then Karen.
Yeah, so my response is a bit hyper local to Times Square. We're a bit unique in the sense that we're not necessarily a classic retail shopping destination, but a lot of our businesses are centered around tourism, theater, and entertainment. And as you know, Broadway reopened last month. With that, we had a 5% increase in our open storefronts. So a lot of our businesses rely on those theater goers. And the winter is really our busiest season typically. New Year's Eve is going to be in person. We have a lot of the classic events surrounding that. And we're hoping that will draw, and we're kind of launching off of that with some of our marketing initiatives to draw people into the businesses. So we're expecting a pretty good season. Looks promising so far.
Great, Karen.
Yeah, so being a border city here in Buffalo, our larger retail outlets certainly rely on the Canadian shopper to aid in that holiday shopping season success. Anecdotally, we're hearing a lot that Canadians are eager to get back to Buffalo. But I should say, it's sort of fraught with limitations, given that when the border does open up on the 8th, there is still a PCR testing requirement that will likely deter both logistically and financially some Canadian shoppers from crossing the border. We work specifically with an agency in the Toronto market called Field Day. And so they're sort of like our eyes and ears in that market. And they've shared with us maybe some not so positive news, that maybe 68% of Canadians are really in no hurry to come to the US, likely due to that testing requirement. Now the Buffalo market could certainly be unique since Canadians do come down to score some amazing deals in our retail outlets. We also have products and inventory that they can't get on their side of the border. And we all know the quest for that perfect Christmas gift makes us all do crazy things. I'm a mom of young kids. I've certainly been known to get in the car and drive long distances to find a gift that they really want. So, I do think Canadian shoppers specifically will really have to weigh, what they're going to save potentially on gifts, if that's going to, save them more than the cost of that test to come here to get it.
Karen, that's interesting because you touched on something that Kate, you brought up. And actually, maybe we should just get this out of the way now. I'm sure this is a question in the audience. Kate, you mentioned it's going to be a long season, that people need to start shopping now. We hear a lot in the news about the supply chain issues. So is this turning the lemons into lemonade situation? I'm curious if any of you are you able to comment on the supply chain issues and how it might impact this season, or again, maybe create an opportunity?
Sure, I can touch on that for us. So yes, I mean, if you're definitely hearing that there's challenges out there, but I always look at it as an opportunity. If you are interested in a particular gift, as Karen said, you'll go near and far to find it. So we're highly encouraging. That's our whole message this holiday season is to get into the shopping centers, to get into our fashion outlets across the country and do your shopping early. That way you're more guaranteed available inventory that you will find in the stores. And available inventory is going to drive the promotions this season, which again is why you're seeing this extended holiday season. But again, ICSC is predicting 85% of people will shop in a physical store. And that's a great statistic for us. We see a very synergistic relationship between online, where a lot of people will do their research. They'll find out where the products are. They'll determine what their holiday gift list is. And then they want to go with friends and family. Again, that sense of normalcy to go shopping, have that holiday shopping experience, physically touch it, feel it, try it on, and purchase that perfect gift for someone on their list.
Does anyone else want to add anything before I move on to what you're doing to keep encouraging people to come out? Okay, well, great. Well, let's talk about what you're doing to get people out, what your organizations, your staffs are doing. Hoping the audience will get some inspiration from you all. So Taylor, why don't you start, and then I'll have Sarah, Karen, and then Kate.
Great. So, Erin, we message out our wonderful open air shopping experience. We're fortunate to be outside, particularly now. And we've also added a lot of tables and chairs outside for outdoor alfresco dining. So we're also promoting that heavily. And we have a lot of wonderful and some free outdoor attractions that we also promote.
Great. I know free and outside are pretty attractive right now. Sarah, how about what you're seeing in Times Square?
Yeah, that kind of feeds right into what we're doing as well. We're focusing a lot on the public space experience. Times Square is known for being very crowded, and I think, during the pandemic, there were a lot of efforts to, outdoor dining. That seems to be here to stay. So we're sort of managing a lot of different competing uses and making that a good experience for people who are returning for the first time, whether they're workers or tourists. But then we're also, promoting or kind of using our signature events to sort of launch more marketing initiatives to draw people to shop. We have the Broadway Show Globes are going to be in the plazas starting tomorrow. It's up until about New Year's. And so that we're sort of doing a campaign around that to get people to shop around. But yeah, so that's we're focusing a lot on the public space management.
Okay, wonderful. Karen, how about over there in Buffalo?
Yeah, so again, my perspective is from the Canadian shopper, and Visit Buffalo Niagara, we're going the flattery route, I would say. So we launched a campaign yesterday in Canada centered around the classic song of Reunited, and it feels so good. So we're really laying it on thick with how much Buffalo has missed our neighbors to the north the last 18 months. So we've bought billboards on the QEW and radio commercials and digital ads, just, ready to welcome them back to our community. We're really going with a soft sell to start, knowing that not everybody is going to be having their bags packed, ready to get into the car. And then the second phase of our campaign is all about identifying the different experiences in our community that we want to save for them. So we're saving a seat for them, we're saving a deal for them, we're saving a cold one for them at the bar, that sort of thing. And then on this side of the border, we're kind of laying out a giant welcome mat. So we're working with our hotel partners to put together Canadian shopper specific deals and promotions, working with some of the larger retail partners with putting gift cards with packages, gift baskets representing, local shops and businesses. We have 60 hotel partners who are going to be flying a Buffalo Loves Canada flag at their properties. And then just a fun thing we plan on doing the week of Black Friday, we're going to do parking lot blitzes at our local malls. And we're going to just be identifying Ontario license plate and slipping little Buffalo love notes, we call them, on their windshields that just says, thanks for coming, we've missed you, and really push that kill them with kindness mentality to encourage them to get out there and shop with us this holiday season.
Wow, those are wonderful ideas, and I'm sure will be very touching.
I think so.
Yeah, I love the whole just keeping kindness and love out in the world. Kate, how about what you all are doing at your centers?
Sure. So we are really looking forward to welcoming Santa back. We have indoor and outdoor shopping centers across the country. So obviously taking that into consideration based on the market we're located in, we want everyone to feel very comfortable with their Santa experience, whether you want to sit on his lap or sit near him, just to be able to be part of that holiday cheer. We've got a number of promotions that are in play, a great holiday gift with purchase that is kicking off in many of our shopping centers across the country. We are thrilled to welcome back our international travelers. You'll see welcome back signage throughout our shopping centers, especially our border locations like Fashion Outlets of Niagara Falls, right there on the New York US side, Washington Square up in Portland, Oregon, and then throughout Arizona as we welcome back our Mexican nationals as well. We're just thrilled to have our international travelers back and looking forward to them shopping with us during the holiday season. And it's really all about our retailers. We're really focused on driving the message for all of our brands within our shopping centers, as well as our dining options and our entertainment options throughout Macerich centers. Macerich is we're really about our retailers this season. We want them to have a great holiday season, and we're here to raise awareness and create the right promotional programs that make sense to drive that audience in.
Yeah, well, wow, it sounds like the audience out there, if you don't have your welcome back or your welcome or thanks for being here signs up, you better get on it. So we have a question from the audience. And Brian is asking for all of you, is there a hotel or there are hotels in your destination that are truly doing a great job at partnering with you to drive demand and conquer the COVID situation? So Karen, you mentioned some. Taylor, do you want to start this one? Hotels that are doing a really good job.
Sure, we're fortunate to have a couple thousand hotel rooms right nearby in the Fisherman's Wharf area, and they're very tied to the attractions that are nearby, and they do a lot of cross-marketing with us and with the attractions down at Fisherman's Wharf. So all of them are very active right now. It's been a long 18 months for them particularly, so they're really interested in being aggressive and coming up with some great promotions.
Okay, great. Sarah, how about there in Times Square? What have you seen your hotels do that's been really successful?
Yeah, I would say similarly, we have in Times Square 16% of New York City's hotel rooms. So definitely a very strong market here that suffered a lot over the past year and a half. So we're seeing, again, with Broadway reopening, sort of a launching of sort of deals of like, sort of like you get 2 drinks free and like a half night if you see a show or something, or some sort of similar kind of packages there. And I think that so far we're seeing sort of promising weekend travel, and they're doing a lot better. In Times Square, it's some Saturdays at as high as 82% occupancy. So it definitely seems to be working.
That's great to hear. All right, Karen, how about you over in Buffalo?
Yeah, I would say we haven't really had partners that have come to the table, I would say over the last 5 years, like eager to do sales or discounts or promotions, but things have definitely shifted, obviously, with COVID. And our phone is certainly ringing more these days with our hotel partners reaching out to us to help them make connections to some of the attraction partners, retail partners, and just looking to our organization for advice on, how to kind of stand out from the pack beyond just a straight discount, like getting creative with in-room amenities or, just like I mentioned, like products from like local businesses to include in in-room gifts or just something that can help them tell a story to have them stand out from the other 100 properties in Buffalo. So more of that conversation is happening, which is very encouraging, and hopefully it pays off in the months ahead.
Great. Well, Kate, you have properties all around. I'm sure you have some examples of things hotels have done to partner with you that have been successful.
This is one of my favorite aspects of our business in terms of our programs. Macerich we've always worked with all of our surrounding resort and hotel partners on some of our properties like Tyson's Corner Center. The Hyatt Regency is attached to Tyson's, so we have a great shopping and stay package there. And we do that with all of our resort and hotel partners across. We'll partner up our luxury retailers here in the Scottsdale market. I'm based here in Scottsdale, Arizona. We work with all the surrounding resorts and do a package with Scottsdale Fashion Square and tie our luxury retailers to our luxury resorts. That's a lot of fun in creating something unique. We have a visitor savings pass that's available at all of our tourism centers across the country, and we give those to our resort and hotel partners to distribute at their discernment to their guests. That provides special retailer offers up to $800 in savings at our centers. And we've partnered with Marriott. So on a national level, we work with Marriott Bonvoy, and have a great shop, sip, and stay package. All of the Marriott properties in proximity to our Macerich properties across the country have all opted into this, and we've been promoting that, and it's doing extremely well. So those are some of the opportunities that we have available. Love working with resorts and hotels and welcome that opportunity.
So Kate, and Marriott is pushing this out on their own channels as well. Okay,
They
great.
are, yes. Marriott has been a great partner to us. We're both equally promoting each other through our channels and our audiences to encourage great cross-marketing and targeting each other's audiences. It's been great.
Okay. And just a reminder to the audience, a lot of times that you save your questions to the last minute. So if you have a question, please go ahead and put them in the Q&A or the chat now. Before I get to the next audience question, though, because it's related, I do want to ask one of mine, which is what you're seeing in the differences in your customers, if any. Are they different? Are they the same customers but behaving differently? Are you having brand new customers or both? Sarah, do you want to start us out, and then we'll have Taylor?
Yeah, we're kind of in a unique situation where we have pretty much no residents. So all of our businesses really rely on tourism and employees. And so we're seeing obviously international visitors are not back yet, and domestic travel is still kind of TBD. And we have about, I would say, 30 to 40% of our office at capacity. So we're kind of just seeing shifts in who's out there and who's going into these businesses right now.
Taylor, what are you seeing?
So as you know well, Erin, our traditional visitor mix is a third California, a third from outside California, and a third foreign visitors, with of the California segment, about 20% of that third being 9-county Bay Area locals. Now we're 64% California, so it's essentially doubled. So it's a very California West Coast based visitor now. Primarily, and our garage has hit a peak. It hit a peak fairly early in the pandemic. People are driving like crazy. There aren't any Ubers and Lyfts around or many of them for people to avail themselves, and public transit slowed down very significantly in San Francisco. So we're seeing a very hyper local-ish, and they're coming from the Valley as well in large numbers, enjoying themselves for day trips to San Francisco.
And are they behaving any differently while they're there?
They're really availing themselves heavily on the outside dining. That's something that hasn't been available much on the property before. So now it's everywhere property. So everyone's enjoying viewing the Golden Gate Bridge and sipping your wine and having some clam chowder in a bowl on Fisherman's Wharf.
Yeah, I can't beat that. And Karen, how about you? What are your are you seeing different behaviors in your travelers? Are you attracting new types of visitors?
I would say what's certainly stayed the same is that Buffalo is a strong drive market. We've normally drawn from visitors from the Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Rochester area, which is all within like a 3 to 4 mile radius. And so now it's just like a greater influx of those visitors finding their way to Buffalo. The good thing is, our visitors still love travel. They're still seeking out unique experiences in our destination, and I assume all destinations. So I don't think their curiosity for travel has changed, which has most likely been fueled by the lack of travel the last 2 years. And what's different is really probably obvious to everybody is just how safety conscious people are these days. We on the daily are fielding calls about what are the masking requirements? What are the vaccine requirements? Wanting to be pointed toward outdoor dining, outdoor recreation. We've even been getting post-vacation calls applauding one of our attractions, which is our local children's museum, because even 18 months later, they have kept their capacity at 25% as a benefit for families and kids who are unvaccinated in their attraction. So that just tells us that, people appreciate the measures that, above and beyond measures that some of our partners are going to when it comes to safety. So that's certainly new.
Yes, well, that's nice to get a call of praise after something else. Kate, what are you seeing in your centers in terms of audiences? Any changes?
Well, it's definitely been an interesting 20 months. I think everyone has really learned to appreciate to experience their own backyard. So we've, had a great time frame of everyone acting like a visitor, locals acting like visitors, and that's been great. And then it's branched out, more statewide and then more regional drive market. So We absolutely love our American travelers. Our focus over the summer was all about the Great American Road Trip and incorporating shopping into that. You know, the good news is the National Travel and Tourism Office and many of the research information from all the individual convention and visitors bureaus and state office of tourism says that shopping is the #1 activity visitors do when they travel. So the good news is we've continued to see our visitors travel in and shop in our shopping centers. We're really ready to welcome back our international. We've definitely seen some new domestic markets. That's been exciting, but we're really excited for next week and the hope that the international return and do their holiday shopping with us.
Yes. So with that, I mean, you all each described some shifting in audiences. Has that changed the actual, we have a question from the audience, did that change the tenant mix, the retail mix? Are any of you able to comment on like different tenants or retailers that have come in? Yeah, Sarah.
Not necessarily so much speaking to the changes in our visitors or who's out there, but just sort of the economic situation. We're seeing, we have typically in our what we call the bow tie area, which is what people think of as Times Square, a lot of large footprint, big box retailers. And now those spaces, it's kind of unclear what's going to happen with them, but we're seeing a lot more activity on the side streets in terms of leasing. And what we're hearing from a real estate community is that it's mostly food and beverage. Pretty much the majority of the leases there are that use and not as much dry retail. So we're kind of transitioning towards that type of space.
Interesting. Taylor, did you want to add in on that?
So we're because we're so heavily visitor oriented, some of our retailers had difficulty pivoting to a more local customer for a lot of their merchandise. So the ones who've really done well are the uses that aren't quite so sort of souvenir oriented, and they've really done much better than the ones who are more visitor oriented. But that's going to change soon, I hope.
Yeah. Kate, anything that you're seeing there in terms of the types of tenants that you're getting?
Sure. Change is always good and presents new opportunities. We've seen a tremendous amount of new retail come into our shopping centers across our portfolio. I can speak specifically to Scottsdale Fashion Square. They've had a great story here, underwent a major luxury redevelopment, and we've added on tremendous amount of new luxury retail. Luxury retail has continued to perform well. Throughout the pandemic, we have lines for people waiting to get inside those luxury retailers. Those boutiques tend to be smaller and they're managing capacity limitations within the stores, and that's just fine. But the conversion of someone who's willing to wait in a line and physically get into a store is very strong. So that is good. And again, we've seen it as an opportunity. We've seen a lot more entertainment components come into our shopping centers. Dining has come into our shopping centers as well. And again, those luxury brands continue to be successful.
Karen, anything to add in on this?
Not really. I mean, maybe I could add the perspective, like just from like our neighborhood retailers and such, like more like even Buffalo themed shops have opened up, I would say, over the last year, and definitely have noticed more breweries, dining, that sort of thing being sprinkled into our neighborhood shopping areas. That's about it.
Okay, and our final question from the audience before I wrap this up. I didn't touch on this in what I put together, but it's a good topic, and that's labor shortages. How are you seeing those affect you, or what are your concerns as we head into what looks like going to be a very strong holiday season with a lot of in-person activity? Sarah, what are you seeing in Times Square and its perspective there?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can't, I'm not an expert on this topic in particular, but I would say, we have a lot of restaurants, and obviously that is one of the sectors that is struggling in a labor shortage. And there's also a lot of policy happening at the city level in terms of, there's a bill about hotel workers, like to encourage reopening of hotels. So I think it's definitely something that our sectors are sort of spearheading themselves in terms of addressing labor shortages. But I do think that we are seeing it.
Okay, so just to confirm, so City Hall is working on a program to encourage hotel workers back? Is that what you said?
They passed a policy that was about basically to encourage reopening of hotels, or else like they'd have to basically pay their employees back. So essentially, it's to encourage reopening of hotels. Yes.
Okay. Great. Does anyone else want to weigh in on the labor issue and how this may or may not?
I'll make one comment, Aaron. One of the things that's changed, and this situation is completely unprecedented, is that businesses are sharing employees now because it's so hard to find anyone who wants to work full-time, one, and two, there are so few people out there applying for jobs that employees who do want to work can take advantage of working from multiple locations on the pier and only have to go to one destination when they show up for work, no matter whether they're one or two employers. So that's changed as well. And the city is demanding that city employees come back this week, which I think is going to be a start of hopefully a domino effect of other businesses starting to encourage employees to return to the office because the downtown businesses need it badly.
Yeah, interesting. Who facilitates the job sharing between employers?
The employers have themselves. They'll approach neighboring stores or other like kind of business. If your restaurant, go to other restaurateur that you know. So they're doing it internally. We're not facilitating it.
Wow. No, I mean, that again, one of the silver linings of the pandemic is how well we all learned to work together, right? So that's great. Well, we just have a minute left. And so I just want to end on something fun. I would love if each of you would go around and just say to the audience one thing that they have to have on their holiday shopping list from who you or where you represent. Kate, you want to go first?
Sure. So I have little ones, so I'm going to focus on hottest gift toys, and that is those Pop-Its. Those are super popular. They're inexpensive. Grab one of those. Anything that's a mystery box and anything that's a color reveal. All of those things, everybody likes a surprise within a surprise. So those are definitely going to be some of the hottest toys this holiday season.
All right, we'll get on that before they all sell out. Taylor, how about you?
So matching family, holiday, or winter PJs, including for the dog from Little Blue House on Pier 39.
Perfect. Okay, Karen, I think we can kind of guess what you're going to say.
So that's what I assumed. I thought everybody would think I would say an order of wings delivered to your house from the Anchor Bar where they were invented. But I am going to go with a pennant from Oxford Pennant. This is a ridiculously cool Buffalo-based company. They've brought back like retro felt wool pennants. They've worked with like huge brands like Nike, J. Crew, that sort of thing. They're fully customizable and they ship nationwide.
Love it, love it. All right, Sarah, what do we need from somewhere in Times Square?
Well, I'm going to lean into what I've been saying all along and encourage you to come in person and purchase some theater tickets unique to this district.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'll be there as soon as I can. All right. Thank you all so very much for, again, sharing your insights and your inspiration with us this morning. We wish you a very busy but very successful holiday season, and hopefully you'll have some great time with your own family and friends in it. And everyone else, we'll see you back in 2 weeks. Wish you all a great rest of your week too. Take care, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.